The year is 1918. You are a young British soldier named Henry Tandey, fighting for your country in the First World War. Your regiment has just captured a German machine gun nest, and you find yourself standing in the middle of a ruined street. The remnants of a once vibrant community, now lying broken and destroyed around you. In front of you, a wounded German soldier slowly walks away from the battlefield. You lower your rifle towards him, but before you can pull the trigger, he disappears from sight. Lowering your weapon, you turn back to the smoldering ruins of the town, exhausted, hungry, and disillusioned. This is the story of Private Henry Tandey and the German soldier he spared in no man's land during the First World War. Before we begin, let me ask you a question. Are there really such things as heroes? Men who risk their lives to help complete strangers without any expectation of reward or recognition? Or are we all merely products of our environment, driven by self-preservation and situational ethics? What would you have done if you were in Henry Tandey's position? Let me know in the comments below. Henry Tandey was born on August 12, 1897, in the port city of Hull, England, where his father worked as a carpenter. Like many men of his generation, Henry enlisted in the military as soon as he turned 16 years old. Inspired by stories of daring adventure and the chance to escape his mundane life, but when war broke out in 1914, reality soon set in. Fighting in World War I was anything but glamorous, and as Henry found himself thrust into the trenches of northern France, he quickly became disillusioned by the senseless violence and destruction all around him. After 4 years of bitter fighting, the war had taken its toll on Henry and his fellow soldiers. But despite the hardships they had endured, they knew that victory was within reach. On March 21, 1918, Henry and his comrades went into battle against the Germans near the village of Flesquières. The fighting was intense, but the British were victorious and captured several enemy machine guns, including a large Maxim gun used by the Germans to deadly effect. Among the dead and dying, Henry spotted a German soldier crawling through the mud towards him. At first, he thought the man was reaching for one of the captured machine guns, so he raised his rifle and prepared to shoot. But as the German got closer, Henry saw that he wasn't reaching for a weapon. Instead, the man was holding his hands up in surrender. "I didn't want to shoot him," Tandey later said. "He had his hands up, so I lowered my rifle. He looked awful. He was covered in mud and blood, and I don't think he had a shirt on. He was very thin and looked starved." As the German approached, Henry could see that he was young, no older than himself. And as he got closer, Henry noticed a Red Cross armband on his uniform, indicating that he was a medic. The German, whose name was Franz, had been separated from his unit during the fighting, and had made his way to the British lines in search of medical assistance. Despite being on opposing sides of the conflict, Henry felt a sense of camaraderie with the young German and offered him water from his canteen. "I remember giving him a drink from my water bottle," Tandey recalled. "He was so thirsty. He drank a little, and then he sat down." For a moment, the two soldiers sat in silence, united by their shared humanity and the knowledge that they were both victims of the senseless violence of war. But their moment of connection was shattered by the arrival of Henry's sergeant, who ordered him to shoot the German prisoner. However, when Henry refused, his sergeant stepped forward and put a bullet through Franz's head. "He never even flinched," Tandey said of the German. "He just looked at me, and then he was dead." In the aftermath of the battle, Henry struggled with the decision to spare Franz and the guilt he felt over his friend's death. Haunted by memories of the fallen German, he began to question the purpose of the war and the values he was fighting for. As he stood amidst the ruins of the captured German machine gun nest, he knew that he would never forget what he had seen that day. And indeed, the image of the German soldier became a haunting presence in Tandey's life, inspiring him to create art that explored the themes of war, loss, and remembrance. When the war finally ended in 1918, Henry returned home a hero. He had survived 4 years of fighting and emerged with a new perspective on life, although he had witnessed unspeakable horrors. He also had experienced moments of kindness and compassion that gave him hope for the future. With the support of his family and friends, Henry began to rebuild his life. He married and started a family, working as a carpenter like his father before him. But despite his efforts to move on, the memories of the war still lingered. One day, Henry saw a newsreel about a memorial service for soldiers who had died in the war. Inspired to pay his respects, he put on his uniform and traveled to London to attend. But as he stood among the crowds of people, He realized that he didn't know exactly where his comrades had fought, determined to find out. He visited the Imperial War Graves Commission and spent hours poring over maps and records until he located the cemetery where his friends were buried. Overcome with emotion, he fell to his knees and prayed that they would forgive him for surviving when they had not. In the years that followed, Henry continued to grapple with the memories of his fallen comrades and the German soldier he had spared. In an effort to come to terms with his past, he began to create art inspired by his experiences. He drew pictures of cemeteries, ruins, and soldiers, as well as the German soldier Franz, whose face had become forever etched in his memory. These works of art were not intended for public consumption, but served as a form of therapy for Henry, allowing him to express his grief, anger, and ultimately his hope for a better future. Throughout his life, Henry remained haunted by the memory of Franz and the other soldiers he had fought against. He saw them not as enemies, but as fellow human beings, who had been caught up in the madness of war, just as he had. And while he grappled with the trauma of his experiences, he also found solace in the beauty of the world around him, which he celebrated in his art. When he passed away in 1972 at the age of 75, he left behind a legacy of resilience, compassion, and creativity. Henry Tandey's story is a powerful reminder of the toll that war takes on the human psyche and the importance of seeking peace and understanding in a divided world. His story also reminds us of the power of art to heal and inspire, and the courage it takes to confront the darkest aspects of our past. If you've enjoyed this video, be sure to stay tuned for more historical content. Or if you want to learn more about World War I, check out our comprehensive coverage of the war in our World War I playlist. Thank you for watching.